Hello guys, and welcome back to Scale Down Customs. Today on the workbench, I'm going to start working on Tamiya's TS050 hybrid. So let's open her up and see what we got. Nice metal cockpit hood. Glass looks very, very clear as always. Some nice racing slicks. Very clean, smooth body. Wow, that is a lot of pieces. A lot of masking stickers. That's nice. Some metal transfers, some tire decals, and of course, an entire sheet of racing decals. Those look really, really good. Tamiya's Tech Tips. That's nice. Background information. Oh, wow. Oh, and decal placement. I love how they give a little bit of the history on the car and the instruction sheet. All right, so I'm excited about this build. This should be good. So let's get started. I'm gonna start by cleaning up this body. Looking for mold lines and sanding them down. So as I'm marking up my mold lines, they were kind of in some strange places, I thought, and then some of them would just end. So I kept thinking to myself, these are the cleanest mold lines I've ever seen, and evidently they are not mold lines. They are paint demarcation lines to aid in placing stickers and tape for different paint colors. So that is outstanding, I thought, from Tamiya. Now that I've got my mold lines marked, I'm gonna go get all my parts cleaned up, washed down, and ready for priming and painting. All right, so I'm going to get some of these parts cut off the sprues and cleaned up. Since I have so much detail on the body and other little intricate parts, I want to airbrush my primer, so I'm going to be using Mr. Primer Surface 1000, and I'll thin it down with their Mr. Hobby leveling thinner. All right, so I got some of the parts primed up, and I want to do a little bit more pre-primer assembly on some of these other pieces. So we're going to do some of that. Alright, so I got some of the parts for my pre-primer assembly done. Just a couple of wing pieces. And then I went ahead and primed it and put some black on there, so I'm ready to go with the floor plate. And then for the body pieces, I did end up finding a mold line that kind of runs on the top edge of the body here on both sides, so I sanded that down. And then rather than having a dip in my paint, because I had already painted it, I went ahead and stripped the paint off just using my isopropyl alcohol bath, and then the mold line on the front nose piece as well. So I'll be repainting these pieces back up to black on the bottom and white on the top. And then I've got most of the other pieces cleaned up and in primer, so I'm ready to start painting those up as well. Alright, so I got most of the parts painted black and white. Again, I went ahead and finished the rims in gunmetal, and then just some of the other parts painted up in the black, the semi-gloss black. Move some of these out of the way. Alright, so we're going to keep moving ahead with painting the body the black now, and this is probably the most intimidating part for me, is going to be figuring out the masking and then painting the black accents for the body. So we're gonna keep moving ahead and doing that now. Alright, so I got most of the parts masked up and ready for the first color, which is going to be the semi-gloss black, and then I'll be painting the rest of them the gloss black that it calls for. So we'll go do that first. And one thing I noticed with the painting masks that Tamiya provides is they weren't scored like I've seen in other kits. So you have to actually hand cut these out. You can use an X-Acto knife or scissors. Whatever you want. But what I began to realize was the pre-cut ones never seem to fit just right in other kits that I've seen. And with these not being pre-cut, so you have to hand cut them out, you can actually get more precision out of it and get a better mask for your paint purposes. So again, well done Tamiya for recognizing that and taking action. So let's go get those parts painted. Alright, so I got the gloss black painted on there. You can see the difference between the semi-gloss and the gloss. And try to get some of this masking off before the paint dries too much. I did use some liquid mask there just because I knew that was going to be a little bit tough to mask off. So that's just some liquid mask on that. So I've got some texture on my white paint, which is really upsetting. I wonder if it's because I left the tape on the paint too long, and or I left it in the dehydrator too long. So we'll see what some of these other ones look like. Yeah, so this paint actually looks fine, so it's probably because I had too much heat on it in the dehydrator. Alright, that one looks really good, except for the spots where I pulled up some paint. Mostly looks good. We'll keep moving along. Alright, so I couldn't take it. That texture in my white paint was going to drive me crazy. I knew it was going to. Every time I would look at this car, if it were sitting on my shelf, I would just look at the textured white paint. So that wasn't going to work for me, so I went ahead and stripped down those pieces that had some of the paint peel off when I removed my mask. So I stripped those down. The ones that I didn't, of course, are fine, so we're going to leave those. So I'm going to start over on some of these panels, of course, get them primed and repainted back up. I'm not going to show you that because I've already done that. But in order to get this video out, we're going to move ahead with some other parts of the build while I'm getting the body back up to where we left off in the video. So we're going to work on some detail painting some of the chassis parts and interior, the cockpit, and adding some of those decals, and just keep moving ahead. Alright, so I got the cockpit detail painted and assembled. Just one thing to note, when you're assembling it, this is upside down in the instructions, so just be careful with that. Because in the instructions it looks like this as you're assembling it, but when you install it, it's going to end up looking like that. So just keep that in mind. So I've got all the decals applied and the detail painting for this. So that'll do it for this video. So make sure you stay tuned for the next one to see how we progress this build. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.